Hi, welcome. I am Marya, also known as Brown Girl Interrupting, and this is Pain to Power, the show where we turn our struggles into our strengths and we heal in community. So, when I started this show, it came from my own need to make sense of pain. I was living through so much of my life carrying things I had not fully faced yet, some loss, disappointment, heartbreak, the weight of who I had been taught to be, and the quiet ache of not fully belonging to myself. But what I've learned, both in my own journey and through these conversations, is that healing does not arrive because we reach a certain age, a certain title, or a certain point in life where everything finally makes sense. Healing begins when we get honest. It begins when we are willing to face ourselves, to tell the truth about what we have carried, what shaped us, what hurt us, and what no longer gets to define us. And the truth is, so many of us keep moving. We survive, we push through, we accumulate pain and patterns and stories, and we learn how to function inside them so well that sometimes we don't even realize how much of our life has been built around avoiding what needs to be faced. But freedom, that comes when we stop running from ourselves. Peace comes when we are finally willing to sit with our own truth, to understand it, to hold it with compassion, and to choose differently because of it. That has really been my journey. And it's why I created Pain to Power, to make space for the real, messy human stories behind people who appear to be and sometimes remind us that healing is always possible, not just when we're young, not just when life is easy, but at any age, in any season, when we decide we are ready to come home to ourselves. So tonight's guest embodies that so beautifully. Her story is one of reflection, truth telling, and the courage to face what has shaped her so she can live with more peace, more clarity, and more freedom. This is a conversation about what it means to heal in real time, to release what we have been carrying, and to trust that there is still something beautiful waiting for us on the other side. So please give me a very warm welcome to my guest, Sandye Lomax. She is a wonderful soul, beautiful
Real.
person, and the author of the book Live, Learn, and Love Smart. Welcome, Sandy.
There we Hi. I can't hear
Hi.
anything.
Oh, you can't hear me. Okay. We're just going to make sure that we got our volume working. Okay. Well, Sandy is coming
I
to
can't
us
hear this.
today and we're going to figure out these technical things. Sandy is coming us today as the author of the book Live, Learn, and Love Smart. And I'm really excited because she is going to be sharing her amazing story and journey of healing at any point in her life that she has had. And so, as we're waiting for some technical things to get settled, I love it. I've already got some folks in the chat. Welcome, Kevin. Kevin from Substack says, "Hi, Maria. Happy Women's Day to you and your guest. Thank you so much. It is. It is Women's History Month, and we're starting off with a powerful woman who has made some big decisions in life because we can always turn things around, and that is what Sandy is showing us and sharing with us. And just a reminder, if you haven't done it yet, to subscribe to this channel. This is Brown Girl Interrupting on YouTube. If you're on the iRant network, if you're the Ranters Union, please make sure that you are subscribing, that you hit the bell to get all the notifications. We come on Sundays at 8 p.m. And these shows are all brought to you in association with the iRant network. So I love it. And I think Sandy's coming back in to join us. Hey, hooray! I
Hooray!
know, right? Yay!
I was like, I don't know what's happening now.
It's okay. Look, we go with the flow. This is life, isn't it though?
This
Right?
is life in a
It,
nutshell. This is
absolutely, right? This is this
this
is what this is what it is.
is what it is. Yes.
Well,
Hi.
I am so glad you're here. We got our tech figured out. And I know that, so our story is that you and I have been hearing about each other for years and years and years from a common best friend that we have, our bestie, Michelle McNeil, whom we
Yeah,
love. Shout
yes.
out to Michelle.
Shout out to
And
our bestie.
yes, and she's amazing. So, but for those who are just meeting you tonight, um, who is Sandy beyond maybe what someone might Google about you?
Oh, wow. I mean, we just gonna jump right into it because
Well, we're gonna go to all the layers, but
oh,
just a quick, who is Sandy? Like what are some
oh,
of the key things we should know?
that's so that means so much to me right now to for that to just jump right off and be the question entering in. And I say that because I will be 54 in April, and thought I always thought I knew who I was. And I just finished having this experience that I will tell you about. And I call it doing the work, and it's called the mirror work. But for the first time, I really feel like I actually know who I am outside of who I thought I was. For so long, I have been answering to the nickname Sandy. And so I've had all these achievements under the name. I've had the failures, the success, the heartache, the pain. And now I can actually say that I am Sandria, which is the beautiful birth given name by my mom. May she rest in peace. But I am now learning to identify with who I actually am. I'm like embracing this new identity. So I am Sandy. I am a 53-year-old woman going through menopause and midlife. I am an author. I am a creative. Um, and I am a licensed cosmetologist, esthetician. But more importantly, I would have to say that I am a well rounded woman going
Mhm.
through life, and that is who I am. I am constantly evolving and pivoting. And so I guess I'll just jump right out the gate saying that I am imperfectly perfect Sandy.
Oh, I love it. I love that intro and I love that you jump right in, right? With where you are right at this moment in the most authenticity, which is what I have really enjoyed, about meeting you is you really are honestly, authentically yourself in all of that complexity of what that means. And the honesty of saying that you are just discovering that is so huge because so many of us are still not sure.
Right.
Right? But that's why you wrote the book, that's why we're gonna be talking about all this stuff, and I love that. So, I always ask my guests when they come on, what is for them that idea of turning pain into power? So, when you think about that for yourself, what has that been?
Hmm. It never ends. I will say that. And I just feel like I say that because even just today, like every day, there is for me some kind of pain point. And I feel like there was a time when I wouldn't even want to discuss it or describe it as turning pain into power because I feel like I was sitting in so much pain. I didn't want to give the word power to pain, but there is so much power as we are going through pain and once we actually understand what those pain points are. And I am at that place where I am constantly going through pain points in life. And if I had to, I mean, I could sit here and literally I could pick probably 10 right off the back. But I also feel like that is living. And I feel like as long as we are living, there's going to be a moment where we are going to endure some type of pain, whether that be um, the loss of a loved one,
Mhm.
whether that be the breakup as far as a relationship, when it comes to love, when it comes to family, there's always going to be some type of pain point in our life. And I'm just understanding that there's power in each moment that I endure some type of pain or discomfort.
I love that you were able to reframe that, right? What you said about not wanting to give the word power to pain. I'd never thought about it like that, but that's a really powerful reframing to now recognize that it actually is the learning that's coming from it that's allowing you to have that power, which is a beautiful thing. And you've had a journey, right? Like you've had a journey to get to where you are. And you know, the show, I titled it "What If You Fly" because I know that what you say is, you know, we often say, I'm going to fall. This is going to be too hard. This is a challenge, right? Like we stay in that space, but you have this idea and you speak about it, which is what if you fall, we say, but what if you fly?
What do you,
So when did that become that mindset shift for you?
hmm. My mom instilled that in me at a young age. I was in high school and I was trying to figure it all out. And the whole thing was, oh, you go to college. And I have nothing against college, but for me, I didn't want to put the financial burden on my mother, number one. Coming out of high school, I had no idea what I really wanted to do because I had experienced life different from most people in high school. I had gotten to travel, I had gotten to model, and I just felt like I knew I was a creative. I didn't really know what that entailed as far as my future. But the one thing my mother said when I thought about it, I'm like, but I mean, I don't know, but what if I fail? And she was like, but what if you fly? Oh,
Mm.
and just in that moment of saying it's like I can hear the words coming out of her mouth, and that's always stuck with me. And she wanted so much more for me than what she had experienced in life, which is most parents. They want more for their children. And that was the whole thing is okay. Leap. And every time I leaped, she was there for me. She supported me. She wasn't the mother to say, I don't think that will work, or, oh, that's not really considered a job, or that's not considered a career. She let me leap. She allowed me to leap, like a bird leaving the nest. And it's like, well, that's how I started looking at life. And that became, I would say, part of the entrepreneur spirit too, because,
Mm.
there's no promise in it. And it's taking a risk, no reward. And so that's my thing is leap. I mean, hey, everybody around you can tell you, oh, you won't be successful at that. Oh, you'll fail at that. Oh, somebody else tried that, it didn't work. And it's like, okay, well, hey, if I'm falling on the way down, maybe my wings will spread and I'll fly. But that's for me to take the risk and try.
I love that, right? Like, what if you fly? The power of that, the liberation of that, and that release to just leap
Yeah.
and try, which is something that I think holds us back. And I think the older we get, the more that holds us back. And I do wonder, like, had there been moments in your life where it was harder to embrace that?
Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. I mean, anytime, especially at my age, when I look back, when you're younger, you can take certain risks. You know, I have never bared a child. Like I haven't been in the role of parenting. And so I have been able to take some risks that maybe some people haven't been able to take, because it's always been based on, okay, well, if I F this up, it's going to be on me. But there were some times when, I would say, oh my gosh, what if, what if?
Mm.
And that's why I've learned to change my words, and I've learned to view my own words differently. My what if 20 at 28 was different from my what if at 53.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah, no, and I appreciate again like that mindset shift is words, those words that you're saying to yourself. So if we were to go back a little bit, you mentioned your mother and my condolences to you. I know that was a big loss, recently for you. But there's a lot that also shaped you. I know that you shared about your relationship with your father and the loss of your father. So thinking about how your childhood has shaped a little bit of also, you've got these messages from your mom, but there are other pieces of you that have shaped who you are today. Tell us a little bit about those relationships and that dynamic between you and your father and how that holds in your life now.
Ooh, that's it's so deep because again, it wasn't until I was an adult that I really, really understood the connection that I had with my father. I was a daddy's girl. um, and I feel like at such a young age, and losing my dad, he passed from heart failure, his third heart attack. And I was so attached to his hip whenever if he went bowling, it's like, I want to go with daddy. I want to go with daddy, whatever it was. But also remember, and my dad was actually, he had two jobs. So I got to see when a man feels like I have to take care of my family.
Mhm.
So as a young girl, I really, again, I did not understand what I was even learning. But he was a trash truck. He worked for the trash truck company, and then he also stocked groceries in the evening. Um, and I remember when he had, like, after the first heart attack, I remember coming downstairs and hearing like this banging on the wall. And I'm like, Daddy, what are you doing? And he was building shelves in a little pantry that we had. And when he would work at the grocery store, he would get canned goods and he would stock them. And his whole thing was to make sure if he did pass away, that my mother would be able to feed her children. So even if he had gone on, he would still be supporting us. And when my dad passed away, I realized that I was yearning for a father figure as I was getting older and getting into my teenage years and just started dating guys that were a little older than me because I was drawn to the idea of that support, that protectiveness.
Mhm.
And as time went on, you start thinking about, oh, this is how my relationships are shaped. That can come with the good and the bad. That can come with, okay, I'm looking for this and what I saw in a man and what I know a man is supposed to do, how he loved my mother, how he cared, for his children. And then on the other hand, when you're so focused on thinking you're supposed to look for those things, you can easily get swindled into the wrong
Yeah.
things. And there were times when I was looking for just someone to protect me. But sometimes when people know that that's what you're looking for, they can prey on the total opposite of what you are seeking. So I feel like there were a lot of pivotal moments growing up in relationships and understanding, wow, I never really understood just what an effect my dad really had on me and how it would shape and mold me as I grow into a young woman, into an adult. Yeah. So that's
Mhm.
but I also remember too, and this is I think a story I talked about in my book, but when I was younger, and you remember back in high school and we used to sell candy bars, and if you sold enough candy bars, then you would win a certain prize. And I
Mhm.
wanted a pink comb and brush so bad. And I remember going to my dad's job with him, and him walking around, and all the trash trucks were lined up. And I remember him talking to all of the guys there saying, you have to buy my daughter's kid, you have to buy the, and they were just buying the candy bars just so that I could win. And I did. I got my pink comb and brush. But again, just having a dad who supported me, um, and seeing, I can't call that the entrepreneur side, but just seeing the hustle in, okay, if this is what you want
Mm.
and this is what, has to be done. And so all of those things just stuck with me. Sometimes it's just the little things that we don't understand are shaping us in our mindset as we are growing, and playing a major part on the decisions that we make in our lives.
Absolutely, right? The impact of those people in our lives. And it's funny, right? It sometimes it takes moments in adulthood to recognize them when they start to come out, right? And to
So
trace them back to whom it was that really
yeah,
started it. But
yeah.
there's so much that I feel like you keep talking about that has been nurtured in you, right? The entrepreneurship, this idea of leaping, like, and protective, wanting that protectiveness and that love. When you think about, though, like what the patterns are that you tended to still gravitate towards, you mentioned older men, you mentioned some of the protectiveness, but what are some of the things that have conflicted in the patterns of what you've ended up accepting in your
Mhm.
life versus what you were seeing in your home with your parents and between you and your father relationship?
Mm, let's see. Let me see which situation do I tap in tap back into. Um, Gosh, probably every relationship I had, and I've always been in long-term relationships until the one that I am in now, is definitely, I feel like this is it. This is my life partner. And I get it. I got it. I get it. I think when in the past, looking for someone, I mean, you really don't know. As a young girl, because here's the thing, and I'll just throw this in there. You really don't have a male when you don't have a male figure to talk to tell you no, yes, no, yes. Like I remember when I was in, oh gosh, it's elementary school, and there was this young boy, and he wanted to walk me to school. And my dad is like, no, no, there's nobody walking you to school. And I haven't met him. And mind you, I mean, this is elementary
Mm,
school. Um, and I remember, you remember back in the day, if you got in trouble, you had to write on the chalkboard,
mm,
like 100 times or on a piece of paper, I will not do this. I will not do this. I will
mm.
not. Well, the little boy was like, oh, well, you got to tell me you love me 100 times. Okay. Like what? But I remember sitting on the phone and I said, I love you. I don't know what love means. I mean, this is
Right, right. Elementary school.
back when you dial a phone and it rolls around and you got to wait for the next number to roll it back around. And I just remember like a click in hearing a dial tone. And that was the first time my dad, like, you know, had the opportunity to even say to me as a young girl, no, nobody will walk you to school unless I have met them. The whole, and no, you don't tell anybody you love them outside of your father. And so it was then when I was like, oh, okay. And then as I started becoming a teenager and getting into relationships, I feel like there were times when I fell into the loop of wanting to be in the in crowd.
Mm,
Um, my mom had moved us. We moved to the county, but I was still a city girl, and so I wanted to kind of hang out all night. I wanted to do what my friends could do. And back then, we didn't have cell phones, so I can't even imagine how worried my mom must have been. But just thinking, oh, you like the bad boy,
mm,
like because everybody is like, okay, well, I mean, what's great about the good boy. You like the,
Mm,
you know, um, but then you learn quickly from the bad boys. Um, and
mm,
I so yeah, so I feel like every relationship had to be a learning experience because I did not have my dad there to protect me, to say, no, what he's saying to you is not right. No, how he's treating you is not the proper way to treat a young lady. Nobody should ever think of putting their hands on you, because I have experienced that one, one and done. Like, oh, you will not grab me. You will
mm,
not.
mhm,
My dad said is that if anyone ever puts their hands on you, you pick up something and you knock them upside their head. And in my household, I was the only girl. I had three brothers, and I have three older sisters. And so those were the little things, like he would try to tell me different things to kind of try to protect yourself. And again, as you get older, you don't realize how that's going to play a part, you know, in life. Like, wait, oh, protect myself. Oh,
mm,
okay. No man should ever put their hands on me. No man should be calling me out of my name. No man should be cheating if we say we are in this committed relationship. And there were so many times, like, I just endured so much, eh, trying to feel maybe worthy,
mm,
trying to understand, well, why would you pick that person over me? I was so insecure in a lot of ways, but I did not know I was insecure. So I just think, all relationships mold you and teach you who you are if you pay close enough attention.
mm. Yeah, I mean, and it sounds like there has to be this level of discernment, right? That comes
Yeah.
from guidance, right? So not having your father there was, right, those opportunities for you to fall into things that didn't didn't serve you best. And I know where, this whole thing and your story is not just about love, I think, but you kind of touch on it when we talk about those internalized feelings, right? So love might be the catalyst of it. Sometimes relationships are where we start to feel things, but then they turn into how we start to view ourselves. And I know your book goes into this, but let's kind of shift into the book itself because the book was born out of a lot of things. Like
Yeah.
what point of your life in all of this that you're living, you're learning, you're loving, right?
Yeah.
Did you realize though that there's more here that I need to share with others? And what came from that? Because I know there's been some pivots in this book.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. That's the whole thing for me. This is the year. Every year I give myself a word or two words. My girlfriends in Baltimore, Michelle and I, we have a girl, a support system. And every year we have to come up with a word, and it's almost like we hold each other accountable for that word. And this year for me is pivot in every area of
Mm,
my life. But this is the year that I pivot with purpose, because this is the year that I understand what the pivot actually means. I feel like my journey in life, and that's why I was able to even write a book, is because there's been so many pivots. And it really, really went back to my nieces, feeling like I wish I had um, somebody to talk to me about certain things, or explain certain things, or share their experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so I really felt like, okay, I have a voice, and everything that I have been through is not by accident. It may have been painful, some of it,
mm,
um, but then how do I turn that pain into power and purpose? How do I sit and say, okay, these are my experiences, the good, the bad, and ugly, and I'm not ashamed of them. And the whole point of me going through them is to share it so that maybe it will help somebody else when they get to their pivotal moment and they have to embrace certain situations that may be similar. And that's why I put a page in between each chapter, because it's not I was telling my aunt this, I'm like, it's not a read through book. It's a pick me up, read me when you need me, put me down, pick me up, and where you can relate, then you get to journal in
Mm.
it. And that's how I wrote it. And so I'm glad that people are embracing it that way. But yeah, I mean, the pivots,
Mm.
I I can't say, oh, there was a pivot at 20, there was a pivot at 30, there was a pivot at 40, because no, there was a pivot at 20, there was a pivot at 22, there was a pivot at 24. Like, life is forever changing, and as long as we are living and involved with people, relationships, friendships, there's
Mhm.
constantly going to be a pivot as we grow.
And
So,
evolution, right? Lots of change
every
too, right?
lots of change, lots of change.
Um, and I really appreciate the way that you lay it out because it to me, as I'm listening to you talk about something that I can pick up periodically as I need it, it becomes a resource, but it really kind of aligns with the way healing works. Healing is not just a run through it and you're done, right? Like healing is a pieces that you start to discover about yourself along the way, pain that emerges out of moments that you weren't expecting and learning from them, right? So to have a book that you can pick up as you need in that process
Right,
and journal and I know there's some other elements to the book itself you can tell us about, but like all those things then make it, accessible and the path that I think a lot of people are on and wanting to be on right now.
right.
Um, what was the moment for you though? Because it's obviously been evolving, right? Was there a point in you where you realized you needed to start to reconfigure your own life? You talk about discovering Sandy now, but there's been years before this, right? Of probably moments of discovering Sandy along the way.
Yeah.
Um, what what were some like maybe what was that last pivotal moment that
Mm.
really opened up your eyes to, I gotta make some big shifts here.
Ooh. Oh my. I feel like I've always had to make some big shifts. Um, there was a time, I would say, going back. I lived in Maryland, and I feel like I went through a major shift then, where I was trying to figure out, okay, do I relocate? Do I relocate for this relationship? And I relocated to New Jersey. And then I realized, and I write about this in my book, I realized as time went on, I had given up so much of myself because I was so focused on wanting to be in a relationship where there was love, and I thought maybe I would get married and I would have kids and I would follow in my mom's footsteps. And it didn't go that way. And when I looked up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I am going into my 30s, and the doctor is telling me that now I am high risk if I don't think about having kids
Mhm.
like immediately. And the pressure that puts on a young woman is, it's very heavy, because
Mhm.
we are living in a world where, there are a lot of traditions, and it's, oh, you get married, then you have the baby. And when life doesn't go that way, as a woman, you find yourself stuck trying to make the right decision for yourself, but you're mentally trying to people please because you think you're going to get judged for making the wrong decision.
Mhm.
And I found myself at a moment where I said, "Oh my God, I really am waking up, looking in the mirror, and I am disliking who I am because I am staying stuck in something that I want to grow in the ways that I need it to grow. And when I'm waking up, it's like almost like waking up and it's another year gone by. And then I wake up and then it's another year gone by. And I finally had to put my foot down when it comes to me, not to somebody else, to say, okay, this is not what this person wants right now, but
Mm.
this is what you want right now. How many more years do you give to somebody else to please someone else? And you're starting to resent yourself. And so going into my 30s and shifting and moving to Atlanta, the shifts just kept coming. The shifts just
Mm.
they just kept coming. Um, and again, you're evolving because then you're like, okay, well, now what do I want? What am I looking for in a relationship? And then I found myself shifting where there was a time when I was like, well, I don't want to get married right now. I don't want to have kids unless I know that I know that I know. What if I had had kids in the last relationship and I'm not even in that relationship? And so I toggled with a lot um in my years of relationships and life
Mhm.
and understanding what I wanted sometimes in that chapter.
But
And yeah.
no, and I appreciate that because I think, you talked about choosing you. Choosing you is a hard thing, and you talk about how, like, you have to break what family wants of you. You have to break what the partners want of you. You have to break what society is telling you of you. Like,
Mhm.
that's a huge thing to shift those narratives that have been internalized in us by, and not necessarily negative things, but if they don't fit us, right? Like, that's really, really big. And what I want to know, and I know you've made a lot of shifts all the time, but as you've done those shifts, what's changed about you? Like, tell me about the liberation or the freedom that comes from the shift. Because we talk about the pain, but what's the power in that you've been walking away with each time?
Oh man, I feel like each time I gain a piece of me because it's like you said sometimes it's not even about the pain, it's not about somebody else where it may be a negative thing. It may be that we just aren't on the same page at that point in time. It doesn't mean this person loves you any less, or it doesn't really mean that I love myself any less. It's just really always trying to be in alignment with self. And I
Mm.
feel like each chapter, the liberation is understanding what I don't want. It's like, okay, I have these blocks on the table and I get to actually like play with them and I get to say, okay, well, nope, don't want that one. That doesn't fit, into my puzzle. Push that over here. And each time it's like, oh, I'm getting closer and closer to completing this puzzle. The puzzle is me. Um, and I posted a picture one time. I'm getting into this AI thing, but it was so interesting that um, I was asking it like how it saw me, and it pieced together a puzzle. And for
Mm.
me, it just made sense because I feel like I'm constantly putting pieces in. I'm figuring it out as I go along. And that's so liberating. It's just so I don't even know how to explain it. Like it's just so liberating because I realized that I'm not stuck where I was. Whatever
Mhm.
it was, I'm not stuck there. And I'm really understanding as I get older to use those lessons. And that's really what it is. They're lessons. And I'm understanding that. So it's not like I'm just sitting and I'm focused on the pain that things caused and the discomfort. I am now saying, wow, look what I just learned about myself. That's such a great feeling because that you're evolving. You know that you are
Mm.
growing from it. And how else do we grow if we don't get the lessons in it?
Absolutely. I mean, no, we don't, right? Like we have to get the lessons. That's part of that pain to power journey is to walk away knowing better, to do better, right? And to your point, knowing ourselves better. Oftentimes we just say knowing better, but it's really knowing yourself, knowing all those puzzle pieces. I love that analogy you just made, right? Like it's like these parts of you are coming together and you get to see it all formulate until the whole thing, but really it's gonna keep evolving, right? So it's gonna be new parts, right? Like it's never really fully ends. And I love that for you. So as people pick up your book, because you know that's really why we're here. We're talking about the book, and I wanted to elevate it. Your journey has seriously led you to this book.
Mhm.
What is it that they're starting to get for themselves as they walk away with reading this and doing the journaling and the activities and the affirmations?
I think that from what I get and I gather from the response is a lot of people feel like they can relate, and it's the authenticity that people can relate to, because a lot of times, especially in the social media world, we're posting everything that's great,
Mhm.
that looks shiny, that looks fantastic and fabulous. And I know for me, a lot of people look and that's what they see. And that's why I wanted to share the book. I wanted to share the different pieces of my journey because I wanted people to know it's not always good. It's not always shiny. It's not always fabulous. And I feel like people are really, having an aha moment like, oh, okay, she's not perfect. She has gone through this. She can relate to me. I have
Mm.
been through this type of relationship. I have gone through this type of pain. I have gone through this type of loss. I have gone through this type of gain. Um, and I think that's what people are getting. And I think that that is what people want now. They want to read books that share the real.
Mhm.
We are tired of I mean, we can all create a fabulous picture now, like we can all tell a great story, but to really share, you know, the not so great things that have happened in your life makes you human.
Yes, it
It,
does. And we're
it,
all going through it, right? But we don't if we don't say it, you also give people permission. I imagine there's a lot of people you've given permission to be able to be human and fallible and feel and express those feelings and make mistakes and know that it's okay because you can always turn it around.
yep.
You're talking about how people saw you not in your perfectness, and I'm wondering, because when we talked, I know you said that people do Google you, right? And they see something. So you're well known in spaces. People know you, right? So I want to know in that when people have come to you that you know already, that have known you through whatever, through work, through relationships and dynamics, other people right? Whatever it is that have read your book, is there something that almost has opened them up to see you differently and how you actually like how did you process that? Because that's a big vulnerability. It's one thing to just be vulnerable. I think it's very different when your vulnerability is directly, sharing with people who have seen you for years and years and years, pieces of you that you've never given to them.
Yeah, I have you know t- it almost made some people a little uncomfortable to confront certain topics that I touched on in the book.
Mm.
And I wanted to put it out there because I mean there are some people who Google and um life has looked amazing and I have had some amazing experiences, Um, but I have also gone through rape. I have gone through things where I can actually, like, I'm saying the word now, I'm saying it out loud, which is a part of doing the work within to be able to say it. Um, and I feel like even though I am still healing through certain pieces of my journey in life, it was so important to share it because now people can really see me. I don't have to hide behind it. I don't have
Mm,
to hide behind, and that's another the weight lifted. So I think when people now have read certain things like that, they are really, I think they have more, I guess, respect for me
mhm,
because it's one thing to keep on saying life is great and oh, I'm in this great relationship now and all the things, but it's another thing to actually embrace the pieces of your journey that have caused damage to you, to show how you are trying to heal through it so that the next person can say, okay, I can heal also. And I
mm,
may have had um, family members who did not know that about me. Um, and now they can look at me in a different light and they can say, oh, okay, I've had to, now I can get help for what I experienced. Or now I can share with her what I experienced, something that made me feel uncomfortable if someone touched me the wrong way. Now I don't have to look at, my big cousin or my friend. Like I can't talk to her about things that, have been damaging to me or make me feel flawed because she understands. And a lot of time I
mm,
carried a lot of that weight before writing the book. And it can be heavy. It can be extremely heavy. And, because you're communicating with people and all they're seeing is all the good. And it's
mhm,
like, no, let me share what I have actually experienced. And the feedback has been, I've had people DM and say, thank you for sharing. I totally understand. I can relate to so many different things that I've written about. And that is that is what I wanted. That is what I wanted. I wanted people to not feel alone. And that is where the affirmations came from. They're authentic because they come from what I have experienced. It's not like, I'm saying wake up every day, stand in the mirror and recite these words because they sound good. No, these words come from what I have experienced.
mm. So, what are some of those affirmations, like some that you do for yourself, you've used, and then you're providing them for your readers too to think about?
Yeah, one that I'm really big on, and it may sound cliche-ish, but I am worthy.
Mm,
I am worthy. I am worthy. Sandy, you are worthy. And I want women and younger girls to always be able to say, I am worthy and really feel it in here and know it. And I say that because it's, worthy, it's on so many different levels. Like I said, I have not had children. I have had miscarriages. I share that. So in not having children, there was a time where I did not feel worthy. I felt like, oh my God, this is what I'm supposed to do as a woman. Why is this not happening to me? And so that is one of the affirmations, is that always understanding that, certain things may not have been according to your plan. And for me, I'm spiritual, so I feel like, okay, this is a part of God's plan, but I'm still able to nurture children. I am a
mm,
nurturer by nature. As a woman, I am still able to love, and so it doesn't make me any less worthy of a person because I have not had children. Like I have a
Mhm.
bonus baby. I call him, he's my bonus baby. He's 13, but you know, and so I get to still love and co-parent. And you know, when it comes to jobs, you know, there were so many times, oh my God, I've heard no so many times from so many different types of jobs, whether it been modeling, whether it been trying, you know, doing acting, um, just hearing no, no, no. It makes you feel like you're not worthy of these
Mm.
things and these sometimes the opportunities. And it's like, no, it's just that opportunity is just not for you at this time. You are still worthy. So that is probably one of my biggest affirmations. But yeah.
That's a groundbreaking one, though, because I think to your point, we so often slip into that. And it sounds different in every way. People pleasing is that feeling, right? Like giving up and sacrificing is I'm
Yeah.
not worthy. Like I'm not worthy is the foundation feeling that leads us to make those decisions that then we sacrifice our own needs for other people. Or we don't think we deserve the same things as everyone else, right? There's something wrong with us, there's something broken with us, and that's that like, so I love that, and I love that you elevated that because I think it is simple, right? I
Yeah.
am worthy, it's 3 words, but those 3 words, when you believe them, when you live them, when you breathe and feel them inside you, especially in the tough moments, right? What a difference that makes.
What a difference that makes. What a difference that makes. Yeah. Yeah.
That's huge, that's huge,
Yeah.
and so, you know, you've mentioned this a couple times, but I wanna go there because you talked about mirror work, but right now it sounds like you are in a new season of purging and healing and letting go, right? Tell us a little bit about what right now, because I think in every evolution, we learn new tools, right?
Yeah.
What's the current tool, resource, process that's helping you to move through even the pain of writing something, right? Like there's so many pains, right? Like all of it. You've had loss now. Like what is helping you right now to move through all of these things?
Oh, it's interesting because when I talk about pivot, and I write in my book, and throughout my book, a lot of people notice I didn't name drop. um, and I did that on purpose. I do plan on bringing my book to life, where I will be saying who some of those people are and speaking with them. But one is a good dear friend of mine, and I call her M, but she, you know, brought it to my attention that I should consider doing the mirror work. And I was like, okay, what is the mirror work? And it's called the Soul Luxury Path. And whew, when I say it was interesting because I went into it not knowing what to expect. And I did these soul to soul sessions, and there were 8 sessions. And I really, 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 I would say probably about 6 of them, when it was time for me to hop on, I did not want to. And here's the thing, I did not want to because life was beating me down all the way up into that that moment of having to log on and do the mirror work. And the mirror work is um, basically you aren't on a Zoom or a face to face. It's just a voice, and the voice is really reflecting your voice. And it was just it was mind blowing because up until the minute I did not want to show up because I was tired, I was exhausted mentally and physically. And then it made me realize, wow, but if you don't cross over this minute and show up, you are not showing up for yourself. And I would push myself, almost like getting to a finish line, and I would push myself into it. And every time I did a session, I left feeling so rejuvenated. I left feeling like, wow, I actually sit and I heard myself, the questions and the reflection and different things that I was dealing with and having to get to the root of it. And it's perfect timing for me, because when I say probably 2 weeks ago, had you asked me these questions, I would probably not be confident in my answer.
Mm.
Um, but I am so confident now because I actually got to see me. Like I said, in all my my years of living, this is the first time that the mirror work, the experience of actually getting to sit with me and holding myself accountable and understanding why I had certain patterns that I had developed for so long that I didn't even know they were patterns. And and one of my patterns that I learned in doing the mirror work is I lived in the what if. When we talked about what if, I
Mm.
lived in this what if zone. And as life, started just dealing me shit here and there, like keeping it real, I started creating. My mom would always say this saying, and it was more of a joke, but now it's not, because I get it. Stop making a mountain out of a molehill. Don't make a
Mm.
mountain out of a molehill. And I wish I could call her, but I know she knows now that I get it. There were times when, let's say, I may have left a relationship or relocating, and I felt like I left things behind, or somebody was able to take things from me, and whether that had been a job in the entrepreneur life. And I realized that I started piling things on, and I was a people pleaser. I'm
Mm.
out, but I've been a people pleaser all my life, and I did not understand the pattern of living in what if, and constantly adding on things to my life just in case this happens, I have this. What if this
Mm.
happens? I have this. And I've been just creating this molehill that I realize now I'm not going to get it down tomorrow. I'm not going to, but I'm going to keep chipping away at it. But I have created it. And even in people pleasing, I realized that even since my dad had passed on, just constantly trying to please people again, to put myself in a place of feeling protected, or feeling like I have to do this or do that so somebody treats me right. I
Mm.
realized that I was an overgiver. And it wasn't that I always waited for the response of, oh, I did this nice for you, you know, and I didn't receive the response I thought I would get. The pressure that I was putting on myself, I would have my calendar and I would say, okay, I have to call this person on this day. I have to check on this person. Oh, I want to make something creative for this person. I always feel like when I'm gift giving, if I really tailor it to who you are, then you will realize just how special it is, or that I really
Mm.
thought to you, the person. And what I realized is I had this whole calendar of things to do for everybody else. And when I didn't get to do it, I would take it and I would slide it over to the next day, or I would slide it over to the next week. I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that. And I would feel so disappointed when I didn't get to it. But the mirror work helped me to really realize and sit back and say, Sandy, these people don't even know they are on your calendar. You
Yeah.
you you are walking daily in disappointment and beating yourself down because you did not do something for someone who doesn't even know that you were trying to do something for them. And it sounds so maybe minute or small, but it was so big for me because, like I said, I was putting it on my calendar. It was on my to-do list
Right.
for others. And that's why I say showing up, like actually getting there and showing up to even learn these patterns, made me so proud. When I look back, it almost makes me teary-eyed because I feel so overjoyed that I get it now. I get what I was doing, like, and I get what it's like to say no, to put me first, to unapologetically put me first. Like before doing the work, I would actually, like I was telling my friend, I would actually pause if something happened. I would pause in the moment just to figure out how could I please someone. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, I would pause. And I say that because now when I pause, my pause is thinking, how can I please me? What am I going to do that's best for me? I never sat in the pause moment and really considered me. At
Yeah.
53, I am just getting that.
Girl, but do you know how many women are in the same place as that though? Like that's huge. And you are though, but at 53, you are getting that, right? Like that's the beauty of it, right? You're getting that. Some
I,
women go their whole lives and never get there.
yeah. And,
That's a
and that,
gift in itself, right?
that's why it's so big for me, and I feel so proud. I feel so happy. I feel so much lighter is because I get it at 53 and not at 54 and not at 56 and not at 58. And I'm like, oh, yes.
Yes, yes. Well, I love that for you, and I am proud of you because you took the leap, right? You took the leap and you took a chance on yourself. And I loved when you said unapologetically, because that is what we often do is we apologize
Yeah.
for discomfort of others in trying to be the one that smooths things over, that makes it better, right? And we're sacrificing parts of ourselves. So you're doing such an amazing job of modeling it and you're writing about this path. Like you have so many things in place here. It's beautiful. And we are almost at the end now. And I just want to give you an opportunity to share anything. Where do we find your book? How do we find you? Where do we follow you? All the details so that everybody can stay in touch with you as they are listening and learning your story.
Yes, Mar. First, I want to say thank you so much. This has been finally, like, I feel like we are connected outside of just hearing about each other. So, this has been such a wonderful experience, and everything that you're doing is so important. And I am so, like, I just feel so blessed to have been able to even sit here with you. And I mean, it's how wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for what you are doing for so many of us. And you guys, you can find me, Sandye Lomax. It's Sandy with a Y-E. You can find the book on Barnes& and Noble. It's on Amazon. It's Books A Million. And you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok. I'm learning. I'm figuring it out. I'm doing better with posting. But please follow my journey. I have so much more that I am going to share.
I love it. And we are there and we are ready to follow. And thank you so much for everything you just said. Like that made my day. This was a beautiful conversation. And I truly I look at you and I'm like, I love when women in particular find that moment where things shift and they are seeing themselves in their power and their beauty. And it's beautiful for me when I can share that with others to see because then it just gives us all permission. It gives us all a pathway. It gives us all an opportunity to know that we can fly.
We
I
can fly.
that's like I sit with that one so much. We can fly because flying is liberation and there's so much out there and so many things that are available to us when we choose ourselves. The world really does start to come back to us, right?
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
And I love that for you. Thank you so much. It was a beautiful conversation. Thank you to everybody who tuned in, my iRant family, my Substack family, our TikTok, our Facebook family, our friends,
Yeah.
everybody who's here. Please make sure you follow me as well. I am Brown Girl Interrupting on all the platforms. I write on Substack as well. The book is still to be seen, but it's coming soon. Sandy is motivating me for certain.
Yes. Do it, do it, do it. We want
I
it. We
I'm
need it.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. It's almost there. And of course, every Sunday, Pain to Power comes on to talk about stories of resilience and how we turn our struggles into strengths. Please come and join me at 8 p.m. every Sunday on Brown Girl Interrupting on YouTube, on the iRant Network on YouTube, and on the Ranchers Union on YouTube. And thank you, Kevin. What a beautiful conversation. Thank you, Kevin, for tuning in, for always supporting, and to all of you. And if you are watching the rebroadcast because you are a bestie of Sandye, you are watching me. I know Sunday nights are busy for all my education friends and other folks working. So if you're watching the rebroadcast, do not forget to leave a comment. Leave a comment. Tell us how this hit you. What was the piece that Sandye said that moment you're taking away with you? Let us know. Subscribe, like, leave a comment, and show up every Sunday with me for more episodes of Pain to Power. And make sure you're following Sandye. So thank you.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you.